Hello, Mike. Welcome to Muse on the News, everybody. I'm Lisa.
I'm Kel.
And I'm Mike.
The Rock and Roll Rev.
Rock and Rev. Yeah. It's great to see you.
It's great to see you too. We're really glad that you've been able to join us this evening. Again, it was a bit of a short notice gig for you, wasn't it? So
it was absolutely fine. It just meant that we had an impromptu barbecue this evening, so I had to eat a bit quicker than normal.
Oh no, you interrupted your barbecue.
No, you didn't. The weather's going to be good for the next week, so there's plenty of time for a relaxed barbecue in the days ahead.
And as Lisa said, you didn't invite us, so sod your barbecue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fair enough. Not that you're bitter.
You'll have to come round and have a burnt burger on our patio this summer, Mike.
I think it's got to be done. We've got to do a get together for barbecues and put the world to right with a beer or seven. And
absolutely. Yeah, for those people watching who have seen the show before when Mike comes on, if you think that's a long show, you should see what it's like when we're actually in person trying to put the world to right. We could sell tickets for that. We could probably sell out Camberley Theatre, I reckon.
We could. It's a bit like what was the two on the Muppets, Waldorf and Statler, but with three of us going at it, it's quite good. Never mind grumpy old men; it's grumpy old folk.
Yeah. Well,
I'm speaking for myself, of course.
There, you've referred to us as Muppets and old. So
after this one,
might as well get it in straight away. But I think what's wonderful is it's done a total love, and I also included myself in both of those categories.
So anyway, welcome viewers.
Welcome everyone. At least you've not got varifocals. You can't be that bad. You're not wearing glasses because you can't see the screen.
Only because I said no to the optician when I was there the last time.
Yes.
Can I confess something though? This morning I got out of the shower. When you get out of the shower and you're getting dry, and there was something on the floor. And I went to pick it up 3 times. I tried to pick this up, and it was on the 3rd attempt I realised it was how the sun was coming through the curtains. It wasn't actually anything on the floor, and it just shows how blind I am. So it's quite funny. So I did chuckle for a while and then walk around the house going, "You Wally." But anyway, that's not what we're here for.
No. What we're going to do before we go to the first article is obviously because we're live today, which is always nice. We're going to say a few hellos. So we're going to say hello, Chef, who's kindly offering in the comments to come along and do a barbecue for us absolutely free using all his own meat.
That'll be a first. I don't think he can actually cook. I've never tasted any of his cooking.
No, I know, but it looks nice, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. That's what happens when you get it out of the freezer section.
Well, yeah, it's all from that cook shop. I want to try that German goulashy thing he did.
That was really good.
Really nice, but I don't think you can knock that up on a barbecue.
No.
We've also got Yana. Hello, Yana.
Hello, Yana. And she's saying, did somebody say barbecue? We haven't been to barbecue this year.
We need to do it. We could do with a Camberley gathering of the Pride barbecue, couldn't we?
Well, we could.
Thank you for volunteering your house, Mike. We'll do that.
I have no problem with that at all.
Oh, we're only kidding. Right, okay, let's get on with the show. So the first article, well, I don't think we could have this episode of Muse on the News without talking about this one. Our hearts were broken, weren't they? Weren't they, with the football and that loss and going out on penalties right at the final moment? It was just such a shame.
Terrible.
And I don't know what it's like in your house, but I mean, Ken and I aren't particularly football fans. But I was well into it. Kel was a bit oblivious, and the kids, of course, were mad into it. Dylan's just saying hello, and I'm sure Dylan was watching it as well.
We were the same. I'm not a football, but I've never watched until Sunday a full football match in my life. No, I tell a lie because I went to a live football match once, so I must have watched the whole thing. But I wouldn't choose to watch it on TV. But Sunday night, you couldn't not watch it.
No. And even Morgan, who sometimes joins us on Muse on News, he's a good friend of ours, and he's been in our bubble through the pandemic. And he rang up and he said, "Oh, are you watching tonight?" and football isn't his thing either. So I think it did capture the hearts of the nation, and I think that the team in particular, they seem to be a different breed, don't they? And I've been really heartened to see the activism within the team. And of course, you and I, Mike, and Kel as well, we were involved in food provision throughout the early part of the pandemic, well, all the way through, but particularly the early part. And I don't think I'll ever forget what a hero I felt Marcus Rashford was for
and I think
meals thing.
There's a humility that comes with them as well, isn't there? There's an absolute, we just feels that there's a lack of, a lack of? What? That's not even a word.
It's a new word.
A lack of ego, you know, the genuine, and it was one of the commentators on Sunday night said, you know, it bodes well for the years to come. And I think unlike previous England teams where we had footballers who were celebrity and were, I'm trying to think of the right word, but it was about them rather than the team. Whereas this team feels quite cohesive, and you know, even
using their platform for good, and they understand that they've got.
And even Gareth Southgate is somebody I'd quite like to, I'd quite like to meet the whole team. But Gareth Southgate comes across as a really genuine chap.
We'll invite him to our barbecue.
I think that's good. But you were saying, that article that you had up there about Marcus Rashford. You know, I'm really proud of that. You know, I'm from Manchester. I know what Withington and Withenshaw's like, and the fact that somebody defaced the mural is sickening. But actually, let's get over that and just see the amazing outpouring of love that's overwhelmed Marcus Rashford. With somebody immediately covering it up and it just being smothered in love. Yeah. I just think it's amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, we couldn't see from that screen right there, but as Kel's scrolled it down, and you
scroll
can
down.
The graffiti was covered up with posters and notes expressing love for the boys. And then over a couple of days, it's kind of grown into this mass demonstration. It's been a real focal point for the community to gather at. And I just think how wonderful it is. I don't really want to dwell too much on the horrific comments on social media, but I think we can focus on this as being the positive outcome of that. And people coming together in a spirit of love and equality, which actually is what Pride is all about, whether it be your sexuality, your gender, your religion, your race, whatever. That's what we're built on. We're built on that equality and equity. And this demonstrates it beautifully, and it shows human spirit at its best. And I was really heartened to see that. I thought it was a lovely response.
It's just brilliant, isn't it? And it's really good. But I think the takeaway I've got, and there was a couple of things I saw on Facebook positively, that actually this goes deeper. It's not just about people giving lip service to the issue. Actually, we need to grip the issue and eradicate the whole bias that people have, the attitude people have, and actually be an inclusive society, and make sure that we use our voice to speak up against those that would seek to create divisions in society. And that goes for all differences, and we've got to make sure we do that properly and with love. And the fact that it's been overwhelmed is wonderful. And before I'm not letting Yana get away with that comment, because I'm not from Manchester. I'm from Salford, which was
you can't call you Manchester
place than Manchester, and it was recognised as a city. I'm going to go on for hours now. Before Manchester, so it's far more important, I'm afraid.
Although Manchester does throw a brilliant pride,
but Salford is the home of
Manchester does throw a fabulous Pride event, because I do remember going to some of them when I was a lot younger on Canal Street, which is the Pride capital of Manchester, and some of the best bars, actually. Fabulous part of the world.
It's a great place. It really is. And I love the idea of you running loose on Canal Street, actually, Mike.
Yeah.
I have to say, and those that have been to Manchester will know that the sign doesn't say Canal Street for very often.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. No.
So, but we won't go there on a family programme. Let's move on.
They rub out the sea, don't they?
I wasn't even going to say that. You've lowered the tone now.
I can always be trusted to lower the tone and to go where other.
No. Stop. Moving on.
Those of you watching that would like more information about Canal Street, we have a wonderful Friday night comedy that was produced by our good friend and team member Aaron Bell. You'll find that on YouTube, and he does a wonderful song about Canal Street.
Really?
Over 18s only.
But very entertaining.
I remember
at one Pride event in Manchester, actually watching this police officer pleading with this guy who was chatting him up and saying, no, I actually really am a policeman. And, and remember sit there with a beer, just watching this thinking, this is going to go one or two ways here. And it was the funniest thing ever. And the policeman who really was a policeman was just totally bemused and amused and wouldn't love the whole thing. But it was in absolutely trying to convince this other chap that he was definitely a copper and legit and not just wearing the uniform.
So you know what, the coppers that do Pride, they're always well up for it, aren't they? They're always a good crack. They're always, really good, ambassadors for the police force, I think. And a friend of ours represents the police force at Pride, and he loves it. It's the highlight of his year. He absolutely has the best time ever.
And I think that brings us on to another story that you've not got, but actually, New York Police Department. NYPD have banned their officers from marching in the New York Pride, which is really, really backward looking and sad. Because I read the article and I just can't get it. I just don't understand. What a backward decision, really, in the society we are today.
Exactly. Well, we could go on for an eternity about how
we can, because we're of a mind on that. So.
Yeah, rolled back. But should we move on, actually? Because this is another...
Yeah, please, because I can't remember what the next article is.
Well, it's another issue, really, regarding, human rights and people's stance on this. So let me get this article up for our viewers to have a little look at.
Ah, yes.
So one of the leaders of the Green Party, Sean Berry, has quit over the party's failure on trans rights. Crikey, what a stand to take, eh?
I think particularly in such a senior role, and I think this will actually have great impact on the Green Party. I think her loss will be felt because actually Sean Berry is quite good, and I'm not a member of the Green Party. I have different political allegiances, but I do sympathise with a lot of what they stand for, and I have seen over the last couple of years, particularly, the party really being torn apart by really toxic views on trans rights.
It's one issue, yeah.
And it seems to be so divisive, and
gosh,
it's tricky. I mean, we've had it locally here where we've ended up we've ended up in dispute with some views, but we did manage to resolve that, and we had a good meeting with representatives from the Green Party local to us where we are, and we did manage to bring that round again. But I think some of these views are just so damaging, and basically it all centres around how being trans is an unnatural thing, and people shouldn't go down that route, and all of that kind of thing. They focus on safe spaces, and they want to roll back some members of the Green Party want to roll back trans rights as they are now, and don't want things to advance any further, which has been promised by consecutive governments for a very long time. So unacceptable, absolutely unacceptable, and I'm very glad to see Sean Berry standing up to this, because somebody needs to, and a party like the Green Party, who really should be at the forefront of politics today. Well, but because of where we are in terms of our environment and our green policies, they really should be fighting hard. And actually, they're being embroiled in this internal debate about trans rights, and it's really not where they should be focusing their attentions at all.
It's just really very simple, actually, because trans rights are human rights, and if you don't believe in trans rights, you don't believe in human rights, and it's really that simple as far as I'm concerned. And I can't understand how any political party would want to get embroiled in this kind of argument and to discriminate and to openly discriminate against a section of the community who are just trying to live their lives and crack on and get on with things, and to have politicians arguing and fighting and infighting over your identity
and your validity as
a person.
And I was going to say, I think coming out as trans and living with trans is hard enough, let alone then having to have it brought into the political forum. Life's difficult enough as it is, but it's all credit to her for taking the stance. It must have been such a heart-wrenching decision, but it like you say, it's really sad. It's dragging that party apart, because actually the Green Party at the moment, when we're in an environmental crisis, has such an important voice to share, and that's getting lost in this issue, which is but I do wonder sometimes, is certainly with some people, is it the, not in this case, but with some people, is it the lack of understanding of the language or their interpretation of the language that's used as the issue, rather than them having an issue within themselves? Does that make sense? They don't know which language to use.
You can't argue that it's language. The arguments on.
No, I wasn't meaning that. But I wonder with some people, is it that they're not sure what's the language to use? But this issue itself is very much, it's the party have got it wrong.
You can ask, and do you know what? I don't know a single trans person that isn't happy to talk about it and to discuss language and things. And most people are pretty honest about it. And people would rather people ask questions than make assumptions. But I think half the argument about this tends to be over, so-called, women's safe spaces and this kind of malarkey. And I just simply don't understand it, because trans women are women. And if women want to use the spaces, then so be it.
And a toilet is a toilet. I don't care. I think
we need to get away from the genderization of facilities and just have toilets.
And we've all worked in small places that have got one cubicle for everybody that works there, and nobody's having a go at people because of what.
And it would save a huge amount of space if you had one block of toilets, wouldn't it? But it's what I find amazing with the whole trans thing. The best trans discussion I ever had was sat in a cookhouse in Afghanistan with a warrant officer who's trans, who went through this transition, was serving in Afghanistan as a female warrant officer, as an ammo tech, had para wings and a commando dagger, and was the most wonderful person. And she would sit with myself nearly every evening meal and the chaplains, and we'd have a conversation. And it was just wonderful, absolutely wonderful. But it was really interesting. And it's, that was 8 years ago. And
8 years ago, the British Armed Forces were welcoming the trans community and accepting everybody based on their merit. And yet we've got infighting in leading political parties now regarding people's.
And what's interesting, that kind of goes back to the first article about Marcus Rashford and the racism that came out. Seeing friends on Facebook, the most vociferous ones that were going, for goodness sake, were those serving in the military, who were just disgusted by it. And I think that's a real credit to our armed forces and the way that the values are espoused. And certainly the Army's been one of the leading Stonewall employers for a long time, and that's really good.
Yeah. So, can I just say, we've just had a message. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. I don't know if it's Shayna or Sheena.
Sheena Grigor, yeah.
Yeah. Sheena is saying that she'd like to learn regarding what words and which terminology to use to make people feel comfortable.
That might be quite a good podcast, actually. A good show to do is just saying, look, this is just about us explaining to you which words are acceptable and what they mean and things. Because I think there is that. Ignorance isn't the right word, because that implies that somebody's actually making a decision. I think there's that lack of awareness of the language to use.
And it's okay to reach out and ask.
When we grew up, people used to say sticks and stones will break our bones, words will never hurt you. What a load of rubbish. It's getting the words right is so important. And you know as well as I do that you can recover from bruises from sticks and stones, but actually if the wrong language is used, that lasts for a long time. So it might be a good show to do, to just explain some of the terminology, because I think there is that outside the Pride community. I think there is that lack of understanding, and there is an education piece needed. And I certainly know my 14-year-old explains things to me that I just wasn't aware of, and my teenagers are. This is just taken as read in teenagers now, that they know the words, they know how to behave, and it's wonderful. My 14-year-old is good friends with your daughter, and it's just wonderful. But we sat down and had a conversation and said, actually, sometimes we just don't know what language to use. Can you educate us? And I think that goes for the wider population as well. So, Sheena, thank you. I think that's a good thing.
There's education out there. And Sheena, can I just say, we will look at doing a program for this. But in the meantime, if you want to reach out to us and send us a message via Facebook or Twitter, we'll come back to you on that, and we'll do what we can to provide you with information.
I personally think it's more insulting that Jana accused me of being from Manchester and not from Salford. So. But,
you need to let that go, Mike.
You do. Well, you can see her at the weekend. You can tell to her face how offensive that is.
What I do want to say, though, Sheila, just by way of reassurance to you, even Cal and I have been involved in Pride for, God knows how long now, but language is evolving all the time, and actually we learn new things all the time, and sometimes we slip up and say the wrong thing, and that's normal and natural, and we just forgive each other for that, because it does happen from time to time. And once you are speaking to people with love, that is, and respect, that is the most important thing. The words, once they come from a place of love and respect, the words don't say that they don't matter, but
they become secondary to the way you treat people.
And they can, if you're approaching somebody with love and respect, actually, if you get the language wrong, it can be forgiven.
Yeah.
And because you can then educate together if you approach that person with love and respect. And I think that's what I learned in a huge way from Penny in Afghanistan, that actually we had open and honest conversations, and she was I'm just trying to think of the right words. She asked some wonderful questions about faith that she said to me, I wouldn't want to ask anybody else, but I know you won't judge me by them, these questions. And we just had a comedic time, and it was wonderful. And she used to say to me, she said, Padre, do you not worry about not having a gun? And I said, absolutely not, because you're here. And she said, what are you going to do if it kicks off? I went, hide.
Run.
No, I was hiding. I was hiding under the thing. But anyway, thanks, Yana. That's all I'll say.
Yana said the world needs more Mikes. Love how you embrace everyone, no matter their beliefs, sexuality, colour, or heritage. And if every church had Mike, it would help us educate people quicker. And she's absolutely right.
She then goes on to say, even if your accent is strange.
but what I will say to people who are watching is that we live very close to where Mike's church is, and he and the church are an absolute beacon in our community, and it is a loving, embracing community. And
but I would also say it's not just about High Cross. I think there's a real story here from the United Reformed Church. In 2016, the United Reformed Church was the first denomination to openly say that we have no problem with same-sex marriage, and that we'd embrace that. And Guildford URC, in the centre of Guildford, Wayne is starting an open table group. They're registered for same-sex marriage, and I'm delighted personally, and I'll say that the Methodist Church 2 weeks ago made the decision to recognise same-sex marriage as well as a valid form of marriage.
Though, isn't there, Mike? With that,
there's still a lot more hoops, but I think what's wonderful is that the vote in the Methodist conference was it was significant. It was about 254 and about 30 against, which is just phenomenal.
Yeah. So the desire is there. And
the desire is there. Now they've got to put the legislation in place to make it happen. So it's exciting times.
Absolutely. We just got to wait for the C of E and the Catholics to catch up with you, right?
Well, it took them about 100 years when it came to women bishops. So.
That's it.
Moving on.
Rightio, our last story of the evening.
Which one are we doing?
This is this one here.
So sorry, that's just made me think of something I saw the other day about CV, and somebody put about Sunday. The last time we had a match like this against the Italians, it caused the Church of England. But let's
I saw that.
That's funny. So our last story is a really troubling one, actually, Mike. And I think you might talk us through this one. It's state of affairs in South Africa at the moment.
It is. So we have a couple of wonderful church members who are from Durban, South Africa, and she rang me on Monday and said, have you seen what's happening in South Africa? And I said, no. What's happening in South Africa? Because the British news was just full of football stories and COVID stories, and I had to go hunting to see what she meant. It's absolutely atrocious what's going on in South Africa at the moment, and there's been a real it's almost civil war, a breakdown of civil society. So it was caused by Jacob Zuma last week being arrested and imprisoned for contempt of court, and there's been a real outpouring of racism and violence against almost anybody. 72 people have been killed. Even I saw film footage of the police conducting looting, let alone preventing it. Shops have been ransacked, people have been killed, businesses have been burnt, and it was it was just atrocious. It's a real backward step. And I think the damage that this does to South Africa from an economic and a tourist perspective is immense. And it's just total civil unrest. And I would say to folk, please keep in mind the people of South Africa at the moment. Have a look for this story because it's just chaos. And the concern now is whether there's going to be actually food available, fuel available. And they've got this in the midst of a COVID pandemic. And you can start looking at the story and say, actually, there's more to this story than meets the eye. And there is. And it's about extreme poverty. There is absolute extreme poverty. You've got those in Africa, the haves and the have-nots. And for some people, that's down race lines. Other people, it's down political lines. But it's this pressure cooker that's just gone pop. Yeah. And it's gone pop in a spectacular way, which has meant that people are terrified. And it's just a really unnerving situation. And it comes from years of contempt, of corrupt governance and tension. And it's eventually gone pop in the most extreme way, which is really, really sad. Really sad.
I did watch a couple of reports today, not really on mainstream news, kind of in the smaller news services, but people are saying that they've had food shortages there. They've been suffering food shortages for over 3 months, and things like that. It's a fundamental need for a human being to be able to have food and provide for their family, and the fear and the panic that they must be feeling, I think, it has certainly contributed to how things are at the moment. But I think those pictures today of like the huge traffic jams, people on foot, and the chaos, and how awful it is. And I think it's particularly sad given the history of South Africa.
Yeah, and how much has been fought for.
Yeah, and the progress that was made, in the aftermath of apartheid, and I think so many positive things happened, so many positive events occurred, and there was such brilliant leadership for such a long time. And I think it's such a shame to see this now. And I really, really hope that the appropriate interventions can be made in South Africa to make sure that those people are protected and provided for.
And I think that's the sadness is, so much has moved forward, but it's that there is still, this friend of mine the church member was saying there is a corruptness. There's corruption. And I think what shockens me. I'm making up words.
They're good words.
What shocks me is the fact that the pictures of, as soon as people get an opportunity, and we saw this in the UK with the riots, I think it was 10, 11 years ago, that as soon as people get the opportunity, they loot and steal. They just take it as an opportunity. And I just can't get that. It's not me. So I struggle to comprehend it. But also what happened in South Africa, which really surprised me, was some people cut the security fences around the game reserves. So you then had images of lions and tigers wandering the streets as well as rhinos, which is just
what creates that behavior?
Motivates people to do stupid things like that. Yeah,
you can't blame that on poverty. It's that that's just mentality, isn't it? When
but it's not just South Africa. We saw it here, didn't we, in the riots we've seen here. People almost took the riots in 2011, whenever they were, as an opportunity to just be really selfish. And I think that probably ties into all the stories tonight. Actually, it's about human nature. The worst of human nature comes out when and it almost comes down to people being very self-centered and out for themselves, and we saw an outpouring of love at the start of the COVID pandemic, and we seem to have gone almost a full circle, and it's just really quite sad. Really is quite sad.
Doesn't take long for things to be forgotten, does it?
No, and we need to embrace kindness. Yeah, it's really sad.
Yeah, well, and particularly thinking of our South African friends here in Britain too, who must be looking on in horror and bringing their families home. It's a dire situation, and I sincerely hope that there's improvement in the coming days and weeks, and hopefully sooner rather than later.
Right. Anyway,
should we move on?
Yeah. Shall we move on?
Yeah, you've done Word of the Week this week.
Yeah, right. So I've done.
I'm just pleased that I wasn't pictured as a goat at the start of the show, so I'm quite happy.
You were let off nicely.
You loved that, and you got the best picture of the goat, the best goat.
Yeah, it was a good.
I thought it was a cool goat.
It was a cool go.
Yeah.
Right till you see goat of the week.
Okay, go on then. All over to you.
But we're going here first.
Word of the week. Word of the week. Word of the week.
So, because I got to choose this week's word of the week, and it's my first time ever getting to choose word of the week.
Only because I was too busy.
Only because she was very busy. So I've chosen
You're
a
so
made-up
welcome.
word. No, I've chosen a made-up word. However, there's a story to this. Right, so I've chosen Destinesia. When you get to where you were intending to go, but forgot why you were going there in the first place.
What's the story to the word?
Well, the story to the word is because I was looking for a good word, and I liked this one a lot because this happens to me several times a day. I'll wander into the kitchen and completely forget why, and then I'll get distracted and have a biscuit and walk out, and then I to remember. But this word has been submitted to the Collins Dictionary as a new word suggestion back in 2015. However, Collins is still, the approval status is pending investigation after 6 years. So I'm not sure they're going to approve it.
Have they forgotten about it?
Well, the Collins people, maybe we need to get what wordesia or workesia. I get a constant workesia.
Oh, do you know what? I'm terrible for it. I'm literally terrible, and I think it's as I'm getting a little bit older as well. Like I'll walk wherever I'm supposed to be going, and I literally stop dead in my tracks, and I go, "Why am I here?
Why am I here?
What was I doing? What do I need? What am I trying to do?" And it's awful. It's awful. It's happened to me more and more frequently, and I think it's worse when I'm busy, right? When I've got a lot on my mind, like for sure.
It comes with stress, doesn't it? It's absolutely stress induced as well.
Or just being awake and alive.
Stress. Oh, I need to go away on holiday.
We need a holiday. That's what we need.
That's it. But it's such a true thing as well. I love it as the word of the week because I've had several bouts of it today. But the fact it's got a word is great. It's the worst one is when you stood looking at somebody and you know them really well and you just can't remember the name.
Well, I always find mate or love fits in those circumstances.
That works really well.
Yeah.
And it's good to see that Yana feels empowered by this because she's finally got a diagnosis.
Oh, bless her.
I just suddenly worry for Yana. You can imagine her at work suddenly standing in the middle of a train track going, "What am I here for?
Where am I?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's
I've got an orange jacket on.
Oh, she's far too professional for that.
Yes.
She knows what she's
doing. And she always knows where she is because she's highly visible.
Yes.
Ah.
And if she doesn't know, everyone else definitely
Everyone else does. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a good word. I'm gonna
thank you. I think we should look at more invented words, more made up words.
I think I'll maybe try and record the number of instances of dyskinesia that I suffer this week.
I wouldn't because we won't have time for the next show.
And you probably won't remember to do it anyway.
Oh gosh. Oh, should we show this thing here?
No.
Okay.
Right.
You've just gone, should we show this? No. Now I'm intrigued.
I thought it was a good idea.
No, I'm sorry. It's my executive decision that we don't do that because I want to introduce you all to Ralph.
Ralph.
Goat of the week. This is Ralph from Epsom.
Oh.
And the reason that we have selected Ralph as this week's Goat of the Week is Ralph is actually going to be driving our Pride on the Road bus this weekend.
Oh God. Oh dear.
He's been nominated by us because he's such a wonderful volunteer for Pride in Surrey. As you can see, he's just checking what's going on there. He's just waiting at a junction, waiting for a safe gap to bring out the Pride bus and the mini bus carrying the whole Pride team.
He's cute. I liked him.
Mike's laughing.
I think Ralph needs some hair dye for the occasion.
Poor Ralph. He's
striped horns.
Do we have a graphic of our stocks?
We do. So the next thing I want to talk to you all about is
just before we go.
This weekend, 16th, 17th, and 18th, we have got
what's happening this weekend? Do tell us.
Right on the road.
Oh, so excited. So we did it last year. It's sort of in lieu of our main event, but it was such a hit that actually we're doing it again. So we're driving around the whole county of Surrey, stopping off in various places, which we'll show you in a second. And we're starting on Friday afternoon and we're not finishing until Sunday afternoon. So it's a real marathon for the team this year.
Yes, so if you see us out and about, bring us a sandwich because we'll be tired.
A sandwich or an ice lolly because it's going to be roasted.
Or as our 6-year-old calls it, a swamwich.
A sandwich.
A sandwich. But actually, you could also put in a plea there. You know, if you've not got a sandwich or an ice lolly, a beer works perfectly well.
Oh, we can't drink while we're working.
In our late stops, if you catch us at Camberley,
7 to 9.
Let's put this up, right?
Yeah,
so
there we go.
If you catch the team actually in Caterham, or in Camberley, or in Dorking, you may indeed buy us a beer.
Yeah, that'll be the
any of the other ones. No.
Nice lolly will do. But look at that. Look where we're going. So we're going to be in Reigate. We're going to be in Redhill. We're going to be in Caterham. We're going to be on Saturday. We'll be in Epsom. Thames, Woking, Staines. We're going to be in Thorpe Park for a long stop. So if you're there with your family or with your pals, do come and see us 4 to 6 p.m. at Thorpe Park. And then we're on to Camberley for another long stop from 7 o'clock to 9. So we'll have some little bit of entertainment. And I have to say the Camberley stop has been sponsored by Sorrells, which is a restaurant in Camberley town. And they do excellent cocktails. So I'll just mention that. And then we're in Farnham on Sunday, followed by Chiddingfold, Godalming, where our main Pride event is in September, Guildford and Dorking. So a whistle-stop tour, but we're getting all the way around the county. So quite excited.
I just love the fact that your travel times are quite short. I'm just praying for good roads for you.
Do you know, we've got some excellent drivers in Maz and Kathy because they're experienced bus drivers. They know what they're doing. So we'll be okay. I've got every faith in them.
I'm hoping to be able to come in.
All times are approximate.
Yes. Yeah. All times are.
That's brilliant. And it's just going to be, I think it's fabulous. And it should be a real party atmosphere around it. And then, of course, on, stopping in Camberley, which is around here on the it's not Friday, it's Saturday night.
Saturday, but you're going to come, aren't you, Mike?
I'm going to do my best, yeah.
You're double gigging though, aren't you? Because you're volunteering at the Rooftop Cinema.
I was going to say I may be a little bleary-eyed because I'm on duty at the Rooftop Cinema from 7 a.m. till 11.
Are you going to have your Pride waistcoat and dicky bow?
Can I say, given the weather forecast for Saturday, no.
Well, that's no excuse, actually.
It is going to be extortionately warm on Saturday.
You can just wear your Pride dicky bow and a string vest.
Oh, God. Oh, dear. It's getting worse.
I'm so glad you said that, Lisa, because I was just going to go, no.
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 For Pride on the road, no matter where you are in the county, there should be a stop that's accessible to you. So please do come along and meet us. The team will be there. We're coming to spread a bit of pride, spread a bit of fun. Oh, there she is. And it should be good, shouldn't it?
Hang on. Oh, wrong way. If I do this and go, oh, hang on, where's I got?
Hey, hold on.
Oh.
That's not working. You've gone the wrong way, baby.
Everything's on opposites. It's really hard work.
Oh, anyway,
that's Pride on the
road. I'm going to say this. There's going to be a few freebies and stuff, so worth coming along to find us.
Free autographs from the team at Pride in Surrey.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's it. Yeah. It's all good.
Take lots of pictures. There'll be surprises galore, and it'll be a good spending of your time.
It's going to be fabulous. So hopefully I'll get down to see you on Saturday night, and I hope that we see many other people as well, because it's just going to be a party weekend.
Ooh, absolutely is.
Good times across the county. So
marvelous.
Sure. Right.
It's been great to spend this evening with you.
Sorry, we probably just need to say about the main event in September. So if anybody hasn't checked out the website, please do, because parade bookings are open, pitch bookings are open. All the information is there. You can get your event pass by registering through the website. So please do that. Everybody must have an event pass. I can't stress that enough.
Do you have to bring a printed copy of the event pass with you?
You have it on your phone.
All on the interweb. We know who you are. We just need you to do it, obviously, for COVID regulations and for safety in numbers. So we do need everybody, even under 18s.
Because I printed it and I can't remember where I've put them now.
Oh,
you don't need to. Yours is right at the top of the list, Mike. No one's allowed in the park till you get there.
Poor folk, poor people.
In your pride waistcoat and dicky bow.
He didn't come with a dicky bow. He just came with a waistcoat.
About the parade, I just want to say that we have had quite a lot of parade entries in, so please get yours in if you can. You don't have to be a big organisation. You don't have to be a massive corporate. You don't have to be anything really. You can come and parade as an individual. You can parade as a family unit. You can parade as a group of pals. You can parade as a sporting group. Whatever. Everybody is welcome to parade, and we really want to see you. So please do get your application.
It's going to be a lovely march this year as well, because it's a beautiful town, Godalming. And don't forget, Pride is a protest. So get your banners out, get your sign making kits out, and
Hi, Sue.
Hi, Sue. Hi, Mrs. Mike. Ladies and gentlemen.
Magically filling up.
The Rev's wife, Sue.
Yeah. Lovely Sue.
Right, I've been called worse.
That was to do with the glass magically refilling, wasn't it?
It was subtle.
It was good.
It was good.
Excellent service. Excellent service. Right, okay, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks to everybody for watching. It's been good to see you. Let me just say goodbye to Yana, who reckons that Ralph is an Uber driver. And to Dylan and Jason for watching. Thanks very much.
And Sheena as well. Bye, Sheena. Bye, everyone. Been great to see you all.
And Sheena, yes. Yeah. And Sheena, you know where we are. Just drop us a
message. We'll get back to you, Sheena. I'd love to do that. Right,
no problem.
Good stuff.
Thank you very much.
Great to spend the evening with you and enjoy the sunshine this weekend. It's going to be fabulous.
Well, and you, while you're up on that rooftop cinema, I hope you're going to have your hat on.
I am definitely having a hat on and sun cream because there's a slight solar panel issue on my head that needs to be covered.
Right, okay. Good night, everybody.
Night, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Take care.